In the last video on this channel, we discussed the potential of a bump and run reversal bottom. If you're looking at the chart behind me, Bitcoin is now retesting from here, the 69K top, the resistance line. We are now actually turning it into potential support. So as it may seem quite bad today, it is possible that we may be ready to confirm a true bump and run reversal bottom. All of this and more in today's video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to discuss once again the possibility that right now we are in the midst of playing out a textbook classic bump and run reversal bottom. And before we get started, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to hit that bell button so you know whenever I'm uploading or going live. So in front of me right now, I have the classic textbook example of a bump and run reversal bottom. Now, I wanted to talk about this again today because I am seeing so much fear in the crypto market that it almost seems like, if you're just looking at social media, it almost seems like this is what the fear and greed index is right now. People are on the edge of their seats waiting for a major plunge in the price. Now, looking at a textbook definition of a bump and run reversal bottom, we have the lead-in phase right here, where we have multiple resistance points giving us a downward sloping trend line. Then we have the bump phase, which is a major sell-off, followed by a recovery up to the previous trend line, and then a flip into new support, which is the throwback to trend line moment in this reversal pattern. So keeping this schematic in mind, let's now flip back to the daily chart for Bitcoin and take a look if we are still in the parameters of this pattern. Going back, it seems like we are, right? We have the lead-in phase, the downward sloping resistance, right? So we have that for Bitcoin right here, multiple downward sloping resistance points. And then we go into the bump phase, which is a major correction down, followed by a bottom and a move back to the lead-in downward sloping trend line. Let's look at Bitcoin again. We do have that bump phase, followed by a move back up to the previous resistance. Going back to the schematic for a bump and run, we do have the move up above the trend line, followed by a pullback, a throwback to that previous trend line. Now let's look at Bitcoin on the daily once again. There we go, a move up and a throwback to the previous trend line. So we are in a classic textbook bump and run reversal bottom setup, despite crypto social media looking something like this today. So we are still within the parameters of this. Now, when would this be invalid? It would be invalid if we ended up breaking down below it and, let's say, falling below the previous lead-in downward sloping trend line. So if we do end up getting, let's say, this daily candle opens and we come down and close the next daily somewhere below the trend line, then you could say that by the textbook definition, we didn't maintain the throwback to trend line, which means it is no longer valid, right? But currently, it is a valid pattern. So if we are maintaining the previous resistance, let's actually go over to March 2020. It's interesting how we also played out this pattern in March of 2020. This is the March 2020 chart. And we have that lead-in phase at the top. Bitcoin comes up above it. And we actually ended up testing this resistance line once, twice, arguably three times. One touch, two touch, three touch, like low, lower low, even lower low. And then we had the major uphill run phase for Bitcoin back here in 2020. So essentially, if we get a bounce off this level, and even if we did come back down to retest the trend line again, it's still technically a bump and run if we do maintain it, right? As long as we're above it, we're good. If we start closing dailies below it, then it becomes an invalid pattern, right? It will become an invalid pattern if we do that. So as of right now, I think we are still in a bullish setup, believe it or not. With all the fear that we're seeing right now, I'm sure this is probably a pretty good buying opportunity. And if we can create some sort of base of support here and have the final run up, the uphill run of the textbook bump and run pattern, then I think we would be probably good to go, looking for a test back to the highs once again. And something else I want to mention is that Polygon is starting to break above all-time highs, and this was one of my best calls of the year, having called this on January 26th at 4 cents. Been amazing returns for Matic. This was actually in my Patreon, by the way. Links are below for that. The reason I'm bringing this up is because other altcoins, other Matic or Polygon ecosystem tokens like QuickSwap are starting to come up. Now, QuickSwap is the leading DEX on Polygon, and if you're looking at the chart overall, we are now starting to see finally Polygon ecosystem tokens getting that needed support, right? I think QuickSwap is heavily undervalued. And if you're looking at this as a downward sloping trend line, we are now starting to break out of that zone. So I think QuickSwap is at a great area of opportunity overall. I think a market cap of 156 million is insanely undervalued for an asset like QuickSwap, right? And also, I believe I heard that Joe is also being added to Binance, another undervalued project, right? Kind of just seeing a lot of sideways accumulation. So just wanted to mention a couple undervalued crypto decentralized exchange tokens, right, from other ecosystems like Joe Avalanche, like QuickSwap for Polygon. Two pretty good coins, in my opinion, you could be considering here. But other than that, this is all I really wanted to discuss. Just wanted to sort of calm the nerves of people that think that a lot of people think we have imminent doom for the price of Bitcoin. But guys, I mean, it's still textbook. It is still textbook. Right, so hope you guys enjoyed this bump and run explanation and a couple of these altcoin picks, and I'll see you all in the next video.